What's up, everybody? This is Behavior Code, or whatever it becomes. The name may change, but this is video stream. People here live on Zoom, Instagram, Facebook, and the recording will be posted wherever it is. Subscribe and follow. I'm Yogi Chris, PhD, founder of Ninth Limb Yoga, one of the IMC Shapeshifting Warrior monks that live here at Base 1 Stoic Temple, area code 408, San Jose, California. So I am going to recall some of what's happened in the Beast philosophy in the Beast Phase 1. And this is going to be a great introduction for anybody that catches it. And also, maybe even fill in some or contribute to. Also have some guys that are bearded monks. I'm sure somebody will want to chip in something. And so we'll do that. I'll take pauses along the way. There was an original phase to the lion's den, which is, the beasting process was the physical activity and the philosophy and how you apply it in the beginning of the lion's den, which is an online mentorship program by Arash Zepar. It started like May 28th or something of 2020. So like June 1st, June, it started. Why? Because he went through a transformation. He's at the cutting edge of the code of human behavior between men and women in mating, relationships. He's done it all and he's seen it all and he's tried it all and he's testing it all. And maybe there's things still to be tested. Of course there is. But when it comes to what works, you get a hierarchy out there. You can always recreate things, but what matters is, does it work? And so he's demonstrating that it works. So he goes through a shift. I think one of his girlfriends like cheats on him or something. I don't want to go into that whole story. He has multiple girlfriends. One of them does what's called like a bird box effect, where basically she gets triggered on a deep subconscious level, basically almost like another personality, like whatever. He talks about it, so I'm not saying anything he doesn't say. But, she leaves, goes and does her, alternative personality kind of stuff, whatever the fuck it is. And he has to cope with it, right? He has other relationships, but you got to be stable. You can't go to chaos just because you're hurt, because that's going to spin out of control your other relationships. They're relying on a stability in you that you don't even know how much they're relying on it until you go unstable. And you don't have to be that word, unstable makes it sound like you're psychotic or something. You're just not stable. A lot of people are just walking around in a numb state because really they can't handle the stimulation of the environment, or, conversations on different words and topics like would trigger them. They're really walking around unstable. They're like landmines, and you're just like trying not to trigger them as you talk. At least, we all have that a little bit. I was just at a restaurant with AZD himself, and the way he's talking, I'm like, dude, your voice pierces the air. I know everybody's hearing. You're saying things that are like, whoa, but it's fine. It's a demonstration. It pushes back their ears. They stop listening. If they want to listen, they'll hear nothing but truth. It's just truth. It's just maybe, shattering to their reality of how one can talk and what one can get away with in public, and really the frames of mind to have on relationships, women, your own energy and emotions, and the state of humanity. I mean, the way he talks, it's the way we all talk. We talk like this, right? Here in IMC Nation. We got a bunch of beasts on. We're going to open it up for talks from the beaded monks, guys that have been here to Base 1, got their beads. Not everybody that comes to Base 1 gets their beads, but these guys have. And so to cope with that, because, it's destabilizing. You love a girl and she goes and does horrendous things to you for your standard of what a girlfriend would be. And meanwhile, you got to keep it, grounded for your other relationships. You got clients that are following you, business, students, the world. The whole world is looking at you because you've put yourself out there in a way that, well, you've established your reputation as someone unbreakable for a reason, so that you have to become unbreakable or you get shunned or whatever. We most need to teach we teach what we most need to learn and practice. And so to cope with that, he invents like a routine. Now he gets some calisthenics from guys that are behind the walls, gets a particular training routine, starts applying his imagination and how he's done alchemy in the past. He's done many different, martial arts and other exercises, yogas and things like that. So it's no stranger. I mean, working your body for decades, no stranger to how your imagination plays a role in muscle engagement, movement, and effectiveness and action, and what it does to your mind body to exercise and this and that. And of course, I'd been training women, training this and that. Chris is going into the history and specifics of the beast. Yeah, that's right. The beast phase 1. We'll see how far we get. So, but this is the core root energy, because once you start going on the chronology of episodes, who knows how fast we get through it. But it was originally to transmute that hurt, that loss, that energy, which is it's just an energy. It's not reality that it was a loss. It's not even reality that one is hurt. You're hurt if you feel hurt, right? That's what you got to realize with the girl. If she feels hurt, you can't invalidate that. Even if you think it's absurd, you shouldn't feel hurt because of blah, blah, blah. But if she feels hurt, she fucking feels hurt. So but it's some decision or frame of mind. It's some expectation. You thought it was going to be different and it goes the other way. And then there's hurt, but that's false. It's true, but it's false. It's true because you truly feel it. It's false because why did you expect it that? Well, sometimes we have reasonable expectations, but then we can get hurt still because of expectations. So how to process that? Apply imagination and visualization, combine it with stoic philosophy, wake up early before everybody so that you can get your mind on right to handle your life and handle your world no matter what's going on. And this develops into a routine that he holds back for a few weeks and then he gives it at the June boot camp. So he starts the program June 1st, 3 weeks later, we have a June boot camp. He gives us the core structure of the phase 1, the calisthenics, the wake up routine, the counting your macros, the stoic philosophy, and of course, just mindset after mindset after mindset of how to handle your mind and other people's communication through a breakup and through quarantine, through all of the mass mind control that we are awakening to, and all the difficulties of a collapsing economy and blah, 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 censorship. And meanwhile, holding down relationships and creating new relationships and growing your relationships with everybody, not just girls, but how to be a master of this, because even the most alpha guys have diminished because the world, their freedom has diminished. So choice diminishes. Yet here, that's not what's happening at the temple. So, but the temple hadn't happened yet. So I'm booking these events for people, getting people signed up, and I'm coming to these events. I'm flying back and forth. June was the time when I decided, February is for 12 months in a row, wherever I was, I flew to San Jose for one weekend a month. And now, and of course it had crossed my mind, I should just move to San Jose. So I'm living in Houston. I drive to the June boot camp and I stay in San Jose for a month, still beasting. Now it's what's called beasting. It's philosophy of the beast. He gives us this coat of arms that I have tattooed on my chest that applies 4 stoic philosophies and other symbols to represent the whole process of how to imagine oneself, how to, basically it is the philosophy, the coat of arms, it's called the coat of arms of the phase 1. That you can return to the animal, to the script, to the wheel, to the sayings on it, the beads, the ants, all the things have a meaning to it. What's the other thing? I'm looking at it. Oh yeah, the tent, the thing I sleep in every day, right? Which has a meaning way beyond just what the tent is. Each philosophy he expounded on or expanded on, in that June boot camp, and then elaborated further in July. Meanwhile, I'm staying in San Jose, renting these Airbnbs, looking for these houses, pushing Sultan to get these houses, working out who's going to stay here. Jesus, BC, Fernando, Sultan, who else? Michael Moynard, actually, at the time, but now he's, he found God and decided he's not a beast. And on and on. Who's going to live here? Cortez comes out of nowhere. And so we're looking. AZD is giving these Panjo classes. We're building a structure around this beasting philosophy. And it's not a problem. Nothing's a problem. People are going to come for the camps because AZD is at the cutting edge. He's at the cutting edge. No matter what he's offering, he's at the cutting edge. Meaning you'll always be ahead of the curve around everyone you're around. And it's only going to accumulate. Pretty soon, whatever your business, will improve because of your ability to interact with women, which by default will improve your ability to interact with men and children and old people. And indirectly, because of your confidence, it will improve your ability to communicate overall, which just improves your world and the world at large, because positive, confident communication improves your world. Now, have at it, or integrate with it. Speaking of self-image, there's a self-image Instagram profile on right now. Add to it self-image, or what was I saying? Ethics. I was going to go into ethics, but I'm just touting AZD. Right now, I'm just giving the chronology of like phase one, you know? I'm going to parks in the morning, waking 4 a.m., whatever it is, you know, counting my macros, finding a jungle gym. You know, everything's taped up here in California. So I'm breaking the law. Don't have a mask on, like going behind the tape, trying to beat the guards. There's like guards that come to these parks that you got to like get ahead of them because they'll come and kick you off the, you know, it's embarrassing and it's fucking stupid. And, but you can't like, I don't know. It's just trash. So I would do these workouts on these jungle gyms and then do my yoga after, eat my raw eggs, you know, those times. Those are good times. AZD was doing his lectures not at 10 a.m., I don't think, at the time. When he started shifting it to 10 a.m. to include the Europeans was like early August. And that made my routine go even earlier. It's been a progress of getting my routine earlier and earlier. It used to end at 11 a.m., even later sometimes. Now I'm absolutely done by, I mean, really by 8. But possibly even a little sooner. And I've added, I mean, it's changed. So 8. So it's gone 3 hours earlier. Wake up time started at 5 a.m. It's at 2:30 a.m. now. And I'll just keep it at 2:30 until things change. You know, the philosophy changes. The ability is to be a shapeshifter, to shift to whatever the routine calls for, whatever's needed. There'll always be more living than everybody. There'll always be, you know, the emphasis on spiritual progress. That's like what this is. It's redefining spirituality. And this is when it really started to come out. We're looking for the base and we finally find the base. We find a house. We're going to move into it. We sanctify it and anoint it. And man, these are the days, man, because Cortez is here in town. We've been going to these Panjo classes. Sultan will drive 45 minutes for these classes. Fernando's excited to come up here, but he's still in LA. And, you know, I think Cortez is living minimally too. You know, all his stuff that he owns is in his car that he drove from Tennessee. All my stuff that I own is in my car or in my Airbnb that I drove from Texas. And Sultan and I are looking at these houses and it's like, they're in like posh neighborhoods or it's just weird. Like it would have worked anywhere, but they're like too far out of the way or whatever, dude. So I finally look outside of our target area where AZD said, don't look because there's like gangs around here and shit. And so I do it anyway. Boom, find this house. Doesn't even look that impressive, but there's some charming qualities like yard, how many bathrooms it has. And look at it, get it, move in within a few days. We're in it. Okay, right away. Move AZD stuff. He donates all his furniture and whatever. It's amazing how much he had in a 1-bedroom apartment. Like fills the house. And you know, gets rid of stuff. We do like this house cleaning, mentorships happening. The girls are coming around and the morning beasting routine. So it's around each other. So many times he's interrupting our beasting to show us what he's doing. He has to bring us up, I see. And I know this anyway, because anybody that's done yoga touring with me, which I don't think anybody here has, but there are guys that are beasts that were in the silent flute or whatever that have been on the road with me for some short amount of time. And you got to bring people up when they're around you or they bring you down. And it's an attentiveness. Now with the new phase 2 is a lot of surrender experiment, which makes it sound like we're experimenting, and we are, but I mean, that's the name of the method. It's surrendering. It's transcendental meditation and surrendering to internal resistances. So let's say I want to bring a person up, they're resisting, or I'm not doing it right or whatever, surrender. You need them to come up so they're not annoying, surrender. You need some peace and quiet, so give them the understanding. Just surrender. When you surrender, it's amazing. Just a few more words. They just need to express a few more words. And then you'll get to the more meat and bones of what they're really trying to express. But we cut them off so soon. We correct too soon. We resist too soon. And the conversation gets cut because we're afraid that we'll miss out somehow if we don't do it sooner. But really, we end up missing out because we stay in a perpetual surface conversation, handling surface thoughts. So being around AZD in those first few weeks, but we live here like a week and then we do the August Beast Camp. Now it changes from Lions Den Boot Camp to a Beast Camp. Yeah, right on. Thank you. To the Lions Den Boot Camp, which I'm naming it, but we name it. He changes it to a Beast Camp, I think. Price changes. It goes from 1,500 to 2K. It goes from 1,000 online to 500 online. So it splits in both ways. And very successful August Beast Camp. Everybody gets these beads. It's a very interesting situation. People stay after, and I don't know if everybody gets their. I think everybody gets their beads. And some people do residency. That's when residency starts. So now guys that are a different level. It's a different level. We've been hanging around AZD. The guys that live here have invested a lot prior to Lions Den, Love Spell. Like they invested so much to come close, down to the bare bones, like whatever that is for you. Let's say you pay everything to go to a training event where there's other guys. And then there's an opportunity to pay $500 to have a one-on-one out in the club with AZD. And you're looking at you're a fucking applying for fucking cards, like right that, like while you're there, even though you already tried everything, because it's like, it's an opportunity and it's there because it's so good when it's live. And we haven't seen it in over a year because we've been out of field. The field has been closed. We go out and it's different. And that's only recently it's been opening up here. Maybe where you are, it's different, but that he's not where you are. So the reference is where he is. Still the interactions in the house and with his online gaming and with new Instagram, connections and whatever, it's very powerful. But the magic, man, I mean, the magic is just, it seemed to be even more powerful in the group because how he uses the energies of different people to escalate the group energy and the group dynamic. It's just, more, let's say you wouldn't know a state champion wrestler against a junior varsity from some other school. Like it doesn't show how good I am. And a tournament would show a lot about a person. It's just repeated competition over and over. How do they compose themselves when it's challenging, when the referee doesn't participate well, all these variables. When you see it like that, I don't know, it's the best analogy I got. It's just so much more powerful in a group. And that's kind of what boot camps are, but there's no chicks there. It's that. And with the noise and the alcohol and whatever, not that we drink, but man, I have seen things that, through one-word responses or non-responses, facial expressions, the way that he acknowledges, it just brings a completely alternative universe. It brings a different line of communication. It brings a different response from her, which brings another different response from him. And 3 responses later, you're in a completely different, you're somewhere in a conversation in a person's mind that you wouldn't have gone without those acknowledgments, those communications. And I've just seen some of the wildest things. I wish I could go into it. So the residency happens. People get aware of residency. So they're able to come around and kind of slip into the rhythm of things. We wake up, you hear yelling, you hear loud music, you hear, you maybe get interrupted and shown a certain imagination of visualization or some principle. Is there anybody here that was in the August Beast Camp? Maybe online, or do you remember it? Who do we got here? We got a bunch of beasts online. Shamir was here. And Shamir was one of the first residents. There were 4 guys. I think it was Shamir, Adrian, Johnny Freedom, and Alec. And those are the first 4 guys that stayed, that lived with AZD outside of us living with AZD. Nobody had lived with AZD except for his girlfriend. He had stopped living with girlfriends for like 2 or 3 years. So they had their own place. He had his own place. They visited all the time. Maybe sometimes someone slept over, but it was rare actually, like once a week or something. Maybe once in a while he would stay over there, but he was moving away from that. Before that, he had lived with his girlfriends for many, many years. And then before that, he had lived with Takaraba, who was one of his black belts, but that was like 15 years earlier. So no guy had lived with AZD. Meanwhile, he becomes a player, pickup artist, world famous, but no guys are around for that. So we become, now I'm around at like events or whatever, and there's hotel rooms and I see what happens, but it's just different. Even today, somebody says to me something about like paid actresses, just alluding to that objection. Like, are you kidding? But I don't know what he's seen from his reality. It must make sense, I guess, if he's a make sense kind of guy. From my reality, it's obviously not paid actresses. It's absurd. I know exactly how much money he makes and the way that these girls operate and work. Like, come on, it just doesn't even make sense if you try to work it out. So obviously that's not what's happening. But no guys were around for the intimacies. Like I've seen him form girlfriends from stranger up close. And that's just, and it doesn't mean I could reproduce it, but can I? I don't know. I got a reference for it. So I have a map that just like is a, you know, if I keep that in mind, or the more times I see it, it kind of prints it down. And, you know, so those times we're beasting, it's summertime, it's real hot. The grass is dead. The yard is brown. You know, we don't have anything set up. We're starting to get tense and actually stay in tents. That wasn't the philosophy, was stay in a tent. The philosophy was pitch a tent when you have an emotion that you want to fight or flight, and just sit there and be with it, because that's not you. That's not rational. What are you doing? You lose your God quality and you're behaving like an animal. The beast is in control. It's not a savage. It taps into that, but it, you know, and a lot of that, I mean, it was literally like redlining. Like we would fucking redline while we're beasting, like bring up the most traumatic memory you can and just fucking, you know, try to rip your bicep off your arm by doing so many pull-ups and like, you know, yelling into the ether, and then read some stoicism to calm your ass down. It's like, and then post about it. And this is the routine. So, I forget what I was going with that. But it was magical times, man, and disturbing really, because I am not, I'd done a lot of taboo things in my life. But for some reason, when he taught about magic and the nature, because maybe my PhD, this is the conclusion I'd come to, maybe my so much education in the system on nature and environmental science, because that's my PhD, that I had to kind of let go of that to perceive what he's saying. So I had dissonance, cognitive dissonance, because I wanted to understand, because he's my teacher and I know, but I was somehow getting offended. So there was a body reaction happening in me that I was closing to his teaching, but I was forcing myself to stay there and listen, but I'm sure it was apparent. And if it was, I mean, I had to like isolate myself, I got like hella triggered a couple times in those first few weeks. And I always knew something like that would happen, and it's not self-fulfilling, whatever, maybe it is, but you know, I had seen so many guys before me. It's called blow off when you come close, but you have out ethics, you have unethical behaviors. Everybody does. The only reason why you're not where you want to be is because you've cut yourself somewhere. You've cut your potential somewhere because you're interacting in a way that cuts your potential. So you got to learn communication skills and the philosophy that goes underneath it. You don't want to just learn a soundbite for everything. You need a philosophy, but the philosophy without the soundbite is just a floating head. You need to put it into practice. So, anyway, I get hella triggered by this nature talk, but I receive it enough that it like changes me. And, you know, it's just amazing. Fuck, so imaginative. Like, and I start to really see the suppressiveness of life, because it's just a journey. That would be a longer journey from like being a student becoming a graduate student, starting to free up my schedule, working in weird hours, dark hours, all sleeping in whatever. But as I just do my yoga every day and I do my research and show up to teach, but it's not like a normal 9 to 5. It's very flexible. That's why I was able to get into AZD and yoga so heavily as a PhD. The schedule allowed it. Had I had a 9 to 5, I don't know. I don't know if I would have, and then graduate and go to India and come back, and now I'm an entrepreneur, hustling, calling for my schedule. I'm still kind of making my schedule. So I'm unplugging from the normal, but sort of, kind of, not really. I'm still interacting with I'm in an ocean of suppressiveness. Everyone who talks with me cuts me down a little bit. Their tonality is down. And maybe I just need to be impervious to that. But if you let down your guard one bit, the mind, it's negative community, it's toxicity, If you swallow just a little bit of salt water when you're in the ocean, you gag, right? You don't need a lot. And that's what it is. It's an ocean of salt water. It's an ocean of toxic people, toxic communication out there. And you got to learn when to breathe, when to turn your head, don't breathe in the salt water. So not even just a little bit. Or you drown and you become back into the ocean, right? That is the analogy. So, then, I'm staying in Airbnbs and whatever. And I move here to San Jose. I mean, I fast forward 3 years and I'm around AZD more and I'm starting to feel the freedom a little more. I'd lived with like BC for a few months at a time, or I had my own place for a few months at a time in Houston. I'd lived with my girlfriend in Florida for a few months at a time, all of these things repeatedly. And they all had their benefits as far as like a safe ecosystem, but nothing like here at the base temple. You have your own cell and you're in a community of guys that all are trying to improve themselves, and they all align with the philosophy and respect towards each other, with women and money. And so coming around to San Jose and finally getting into a base, I realized how not suppressive things are. And then when AZD starts teaching these rituals and these imagination exercises, I see how caged my mind was. It had been suppressed and it had formed to like water to the shape of its cage. And it was bruised and sensitive outside of that cage. And when the cage dissolved away, because it was really all an illusion anyway, a lot of that childhood hurt, just it's there, or just hurt, past hurt. It doesn't have to be childhood, actually. So what a journey. And the journey continues, So we're just up through August. Like, I almost want to just cut the episode. I don't want to just keep talking on it. I could. Maybe we just pick it up next week, or, open it up. Is there anybody that has anything to contribute? I mean, we could go up to September is when Master Pyro was here and made the video promos for everybody. And that was the beast of all beast camps, except for this phase 2 camp that's coming up. This is phase 2 starting. Vanessa Sinclair. Do we wrap it up? Let's see if there's anything on Facebook. Appreciate you beasts being here. Guys here for different lengths of time. Nick Novak is new guy on Lion's Den, but he's been around a little while. Kenjo, Joan, Trey Milano's in here from Jamaica, man. Peter Kirkwood from Down Under. Stefanos from Europe. Right on. Beast Camp coming up is March 26, 27, 28. So that's in 10 days. I didn't get all the way through the phase 1, really. It's kind of the basics of it. New details came in as far as like eating raw meat. Wake up time gets pushed earlier. Of course, cold showers was always a part of this. The discipline is instilled. The structure is laid down. As the wake up time gets earlier, the naps become more frequent. The kind of, what do you call it when someone just falls asleep? Narcolepsy The is that it? I want to make sure I'm using the right word. Narcoleptic. Narcolepsy. Thank you for that. Sudden, uncontrollable, often attacks of deep sleep. Yeah, kind of. It's like almost like, but it's self-induced narcolepsy. It's not a condition. It's just from being fatigued, like Navy SEAL training or something, or Army Ranger training. You just get deprived of sleep. So this process of always hitting your wake up, Telegram. Oh, fuck. Telegram was really part of it. You know, because there's so much suppression happening on social media that staying in touch with the audience was becoming just an impossibility. Even if you prioritize someone on Instagram so you see all their posts, it was removing that setting and it was removing followers. So part of the challenge of aligning your business with like a social app that turned communist like that, which could be any social app, hence building our own app and our own TV station. So raw meat, Telegram, check-ins on Telegram, check-ins on Instagram, cold showers, early morning wake up, rereading Stoicism, memorizing the book. I think I'm on my 4th time through Art of Living right now. And what other features of phase 1? What do you guys remember? We got a bunch of beasts on here. If I didn't call out your name, you know, I put out the Lion's Den Book of Notes. Trent Lara actually created an audiobook for that, so I'm about to investigate that. What else is part of Beast Phase 1? The calisthenics, of course. The documenting. I think one of the things that was mildly taken up by the guys, majorly taken up by the guys that live here, and anybody that got serious about it, because I'm pretty sure I mentioned it to just about everybody, is see the Instagram, model the Instagram. So early morning check-in, do an early morning check-in. Raw egg routine, that raw meat, raw egg, raw milk, you know, that's part of it. The raw routine, you know, document, post sexuality, post animal totems, post, you know, powerful archetype character, superhero type imagery, post political meme, something cutting edge that you're tapped in. You're not just a leech on the system, you're a participant and you stand for something. That's it. So post that you stand for something, post that you're a sexual man, post that you have an animal totem, that you tap in with nature, post whatever the other thing was that I say, and then post your discipline and your check-in. And of course, you know, that's part of it. This is because Instagram became the gaming platform. Dating apps is, while it can be fun, it's really just, oh man, that's just a word of mouth is better. But if things open up, that's great. But you know, social dynamics, how do you play social dynamics on the internet? Well, you have an Instagram where a bunch of women interact with your Instagram. So it is the dating philosophy for the modern quarantined man. You got to be a stoic, a warrior stoic. You got to attack that negativity and that toxicity. All right. Are there any other philosophies in the phase 1? I could go more into it. I was thinking about offering for the phase 2 event. I was either going to put all of the Beast Camp notes together or offer as a bonus maybe my love spell notes. I don't know. What do you think would be better? I have love spell notes, or I have, you know, about 7 Beast Camp notes that I could collect all together, put together for you. Let's see. Shamir wants love spell. Dangerous to your environment. Yeah. That's like a Tabiat teaching. I mean, I'm sure it was taught in the beast idea. Primal soul tapping. That's strong words. Removing the bed. Oh, sleeping on the floor and eating from one bowl. Thank you, Master Pyro. Here we go. This is my one bowl. It's actually in the sink. I haven't washed it yet, so that's pretty sloppy of me. I won't show you. You're supposed to wash it. Pfft, bad monk. I'll reprimand myself later with my by washing it. Actually, that's how I'll do it. So, sleeping on the floor. That became a ritual right from the beginning. And I resisted this shit, just so you know. I didn't count calories for like 2 or 3 weeks. I was like, fuck that. I used to wrestle. I think I took a couple days to get on the floor. My wake up time was gradually slow, like 6:30, 6, 5:55, 5:45. And, but I stopped being a pussy at some point, and then I knew it had to be before 5. And when I got near AZD is when I realized I need to be reading while I'm beasting, not afterwards. I need to be posting to social media while beasting, not afterwards, because you're tapping into an energy. It needs to be expressed and communicated, but you're going to fuck up a lot because you'll get angry and say wrong things and you'll be miscalibrated. Got to go. Thanks, Pete. All right. See you. All right. So sleeping on the floor has been profound, a profoundly life-changing experience. Like many things in my life have been life-changing, but that's like an experience that I'd never really tapped into. And I don't remember what it's like to go back. But when I lay on beds, man, I get uncomfortable. It's too soft. It doesn't support what I'm, the floor supports my spine. Like the bed like gives. And so it kind of contorts the spine a little bit. And I'm like afraid of getting too lazy or weak there. Like I've noticed a polarity happen in my environment with people since the beginning of beasting. Man, fuck, before beasting, I was a different animal. I was weak and pathetic, lacked discipline, lacked integrity. Maybe I had come a long way. Trey Milan was like, yeah, so true, man. You lacked integrity, man. You lacked, you were weak. No, but it's true. Like it's hard to really think of what it was like to go back. But now that we're on to phase 2, there's less of the calisthenics emphasis. That's really the phase 1 level, and so tapping back into that is an energy that, to get reacquainted with is nice. Phase 2 is a different energy, different integration of the mind, a different level of communication. It's an application of phase 1 towards achieving one's goals and the application of communication to do that. And there's a warrior monk beast philosophy behind it that, man, AZD's been going real deep with his transcendental meditation. And, it's just going to be really magic. I'm really excited about it because I know that long after he's gone, as long as I'm alive, the information keeps flowering. It flowers as you get into life experiences. Who's growing more than anybody is Pyro. It has to be. With 2 girlfriends, you have to be. Because the pull on your consciousness of 2 people's conversations that by nature and nurture are manipulative as fuck and use negativity and punishment as a means to get what they want through conversation. That will fuck with you. And locking it down and continually creating it daily. It's a creation. It can't be rested on the successes of yesterday. It's a daily creation. It takes a lot of energy. And the information one has studied will flower. The more you communicate your ideas and create order to that chaotic, whatever it is, just, chaos, really. Disorder. Let's just say disorder. But the more you bring order to it is, your mind just opens up all this information, right? So that's what we're doing. That's why I started the women's yoga group. Has to happen. It had to happen. It was holding me down doing it the other way. And I'll figure out, I see now, thanks to the tribal council, the need for creation in the direction you want to go. You just got to keep creating. You got to take that step into void, that step into not knowing, of emptiness, and fill it with your intention and your communication to create what you want. You just keep putting it there and push it there, and then recalibrate and readjust. That's why the podcasts will be changing. The structure is going to be changing. By the yoga retreat, which is April 9, 10, 11, that's the collaboration with Arash and his girlfriends, that the structure of podcasting for me will change after having done 400 or 500 episodes. So, a lot is out there, and, we're looking to grow and expand and get the good word out, because not enough people know the philosophy. Philosophy is very important. And so there's that. Okay. Anything from the beasts online? We've got a bunch of guys on. Stefanos, Shamir, Anything else for the phase one? Trey Milano's been on it from Jamaica. Got his pull-up rack. He's about to come back to the States, though, in a couple weeks. So we're all going to be meeting Trey Milano pretty soon. That's the word. Joan Velastegui from Maryland, been holding it down there, practically in isolation, a lone wolf over there, hunting for his whole family, but nobody else is a predator, just him. That's it. All right. Well, we got great comments that have been coming in the whole time, so I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you sign up for the phase two. You don't want to miss this. This is the one to come to. It's going to transform. You're going to be known. You're going to be known as being that guy that was at phase two. And get the word out. If you like this, then share it. And I'll see you in the next one. Os.